Are you guys by any chance excited for this fight that's happening today? Adam Kownacki is going to be fighting Chris Arreola, the Nightmare. And I made a video yeah, when the fight was first announced, June 20th, nearly 2 months ago. Basically saying that Adam Kownacki was going to retire Chris Arreola. He's going to be fighting in the Barclays Center. As you can see, Adam Kownacki has fought his last four fights in the Barclays Center, so in Brooklyn. So he's been like getting a good following. I mean, people cheer him on whenever he fights there. He's fighting. This is a second opponent that is similar to Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder both fought Washington and Chris Arreola. And he's going around claiming that he's going to do a better job than Deontay Wilder. Now, when Deontay Wilder knocked out Chris Arreola 3 years ago, I felt back then that Chris Arreola was washed up. I remember thinking that I thought at that time Chris Arreola is washed up because he looked washed up when he fought guys like Travis Kaufman and even Fred Cassie. And in that fight, Deontay Wilder, I believe, broke his right hand, and it took him a while to knock out Chris Arreola, but he eventually got him out of there. Chris Arreola is now even more washed up. I know he had like this big win over this guy who was like 38 years old or something, but Chris Arreola, in my opinion, is not going to win. I think this is going to be one of those type of fights that is going to be entertaining for as long as it lasts, but I'm 100% picking Adam Kownacki. Why? Adam Kownacki is basically the young version of Chris Arreola. Chris Arreola is like 38 years old. He's a guy, he's a veteran who's been around for a very long time. And he's a guy who's taken a lot of punishment throughout his career. Because he's always been an aggressive fighter, he's always been in wars. He's been in wars. He took a beating 10 years ago against Vitaly Klitschko. So he's always been like in a lot of wars. And I think it's showing uh, at least these days. He looks whenever he's in there with a decent level boxer, a decent level fighter. That's when you see him get beat up. Adam Kownacki is like the 2006 version of Chris Arreola, where he's a young, aggressive guy who's in your face, doesn't have head movement. Uh, I do expect him to get hit a few times, but I feel that he's probably a lot more ambition than somebody like Chris Arreola. Like I said, Chris Arreola is really at the tail end of his career. He really is. I mean, he's basically just one of those gatekeepers. He's like that heavyweight that never really was good enough to become a champion, never really was good enough to beat the best guys in his division. Granted, he came around during the, what you call it, the Klitschko era, and most heavyweights couldn't compete with the Klitschkos. But even in this generation, he can't compete with these guys. I think this is gonna be a fight where you're gonna see Chris Arreola take a beating, but I think it's gonna be entertaining because, like I said, both of these guys' styles suit each other. They're both in-your-face type of fighters. They're gonna be all up in each other's grills, and it's probably gonna be very entertaining for as long as it lasts. I'm probably gonna live stream it because it's gonna happen tonight. I'm probably gonna live stream it tonight. So look out for that. I'm not gonna keep any promises, but maybe I'll do it just because. Like I said, this is one of those fights that's probably going to be exciting for as long as it lasts. Um, I wonder if anyone's excited for this fight. Adam Kownacki wants to fight Deontay Wilder. He's been wanting to. I remember he called him out, or he was talking about wanting to fight Deontay Wilder when he beat Washington. So he's been wanting to fight Deontay Wilder. That's a fight that could easily be made because Adam Kownacki is a PBC fighter, and in my opinion, he's a decent fighter. I don't think he'll be a champion or anything like that. I don't think he could beat any of the champions, but he's an entertaining fighter because of his style. He's always in your face. He's aggressive. He comes to fight. I mean, that fight he had with Charles Martin was entertaining. So I expect him to have a similar performance that he had against Charles Martin with Chris Arreola because Washington in his last fight did not put a lot of resistance because he's never been a guy who put up resistance. Washington, I know he did. He looked great against what's his name in his last fight, Robert Hellenius. But normally, you guys know how Washington is. He doesn't put up resistance. He gives up quite easily. So I wasn't surprised at all. I knew Adam Kownacki was going to beat Washington. But with Chris Arreola, he does he is more resistance. He does put up more of a fight. But like I said, he's a veteran. He's up there in age. I don't see him being able to fend off a young, hungry guy like Adam Kownacki. I might be totally wrong, but I think that Adam Kownacki is probably going to be too much for him. And he's probably going to knock him out in vicious style. Uh, Adam Kownacki has already knocked out Arthur Spilka and Washington quicker than Deontay Wilder, so he's trying to knock out Chris Arreola quicker. Again, just because let's say he goes in there and destroys Chris Arreola in 2 rounds, just because a guy knocks out an opponent similar to the other guy in quicker fashion does not mean that, he would be able to do this to somebody like Deontay Wilder. By the way, that's a great fight, Deontay Wilder versus Adam Kownacki. I think that's a great fight. That would be extremely exciting for me as a fan. So I would love to see that. I wouldn't be mad if Adam Kownacki goes on to fight Deontay Wilder within a year. Hopefully that fight does happen. Hopefully, I wouldn't mind seeing Adam Kownacki fight freaking none of the top heavyweights. Tyson Fury, Dillian White, Andy Ruiz Jr. That would be an excellent fight. Anthony Joshua, that would be a great fight. But he just has to keep winning, And so right now he's like getting hype. He's in that stage where people are starting to talk more about him. So let's see what happens. I'm looking forward to the fight tonight. Anyway, guys, that's all to say. Thanks for watching. I'm out, man. Peace.